I've been making woodworking content for the past 5 months, improving my shop and content day by day. My old cabinet was ruining the look of my videos. This cabinet is to fix that problem that I had. Hey guys, I am sure. Come with me, I show you the process of how I built it. Let's go! We'll start things off by tearing down my first shop cabinet real quick.
This is Karita Kent. She had these 10 rules for her art department. I will be sharing these rules with you today.
Here I'm trimming down some pine boards to 9 cm width. They will be used as a base platform for my cabinet. I cut them down to their final length on the miter saw. Then I screwed all the base components together.
Rule 1. Find a place you trust and then try trusting it for a while.
My shop floors are not so flat anymore, so I had to use some shims to build my cabinet on an even surface. Using my old bench top for the base platform, I trimmed it to be about 5 cm overlapped from the base structure. With my platform done, now it's time to build the cabinet carcass. I cut 12 mm plywood boards to their final width and height on the table saw and miter saw. We then need to make 8 cm stretcher cutouts to make the carcass a solid unit with some stretches.
Rule 2. General duties of a student. Pull everything out of your teacher. Pull everything out of your fellow students.
Solid as a rock.
The base platform had a gap at the bottom. I used some 2x2 cm strips to cover up that space. As I was going to fetch my brad nailer, I noticed my camera starting to drift away. Just look at that gorgeous ceiling. I made a video recently where I did my roof redo and plywood dreams ceiling. You'll find the link in the description below after you watch this masterpiece. Thanks. To add some strength and stability to my cabinet carcass, I added these things called face frames. Using some pocket holes I'm making right here. It certainly makes the carcass look a whole lot fuller, doesn't it? With my first ever cabinet carcass build complete, I had to digest it all properly while having some mac and cheese. Then it's time to tackle the drawer boxes, cutting all my drawer side pieces to be 15 by 45 cm dimensions. With all the drawer sides cut out, I made the fronts and the backs for all the individual drawer boxes left. I had all the drawer pieces cut out. Now all I needed was to add a groove to the bottom of all the pieces to fit the plywood drawer base. I saw this neat trick on YouTube somewhere, using wooden skewers to get the perfect size on the inside of those base grooves.
Rule 3. General duties of a teacher. Pull everything out of your students.
Using those skewer pieces to cut out all the drawer bases that I needed. I gave all the drawer parts a good sanding. Then it was time for glue and brad nails to mount everything together. I'd like to interrupt this video to hear something from our video sponsor, Shaw Woodworking DIY. Welcome to my channel. I invite you to stay. Please smash that subscribe button, like and comment on this video. It really helps with my channel growth. Just a disclaimer, subscribing is free guys. Just press that button. Thanks. Those strips I was just cutting are the drawer slide spacers since we have an overlapping face frame. I kept cutting a scrap piece of plywood to assist in easy, measurement-free mounting of these strips. For my two top drawers, I used recycled drawer slides that I salvaged from a previous build. Then for the other 4 drawers, I used these modern kind of slides that I love.
Rule 4. Consider everything an experiment.
This very cabinet is an experiment. This is my first time building a cabinet from scratch. It's all the challenges that I encounter while building that make woodworking so interesting to me. Now with my carcass and drawers complete, it's time to start making my awesome plywood cabinet faces that you saw in the beginning. All these strips are to make that. I bundled the strips to their similar lengths, then I cut them to their final lengths on the miter saw, followed by glue and brad nails. I didn't use any kind of traditional clamps in this process. I was applying pressure while I was brad nailing and used a slight angle while doing that, and then that automatically does self-clamping. These are all the pieces that I made. The doors will be about 3 ply strips wide and the drawers will be about 2 ply strips wide.
Rule 5. Be self-disciplined. This means finding someone wise or smart and choosing to follow them. To be disciplined is to follow in a good way. To be self-disciplined is to follow in a better way.
We are cutting out a 4mm lip on all the pieces for the plywood backer piece. Using a chisel, I cleaned off those table saw cuts. Now it's time to assemble the face frames together. Using 45-degree mitered cuts, I applied generous amounts of glue to the joints. I used my staple gun to hold the corners together, followed by brad nails from the sides to stabilize everything. Hi there, glad to see you still here. Hope you're enjoying the content. Smash that like button, my brother or lady. Fast forward, now I have all my face frames complete. Measuring from those grooves we made, I cut out the backer pieces. Here I use the same plywood sheet for the middle drawers to have a continuous flow of the plywood pattern. After cutting out all the pieces, it was time for a final sanding up to 220 grit, then assemble everything with glue and staples.
Rule 6. Nothing is a mistake. There's no win and no fail. There's only make.
As creators, we always find flaws in our creations, yet any other random person would never see that thing until you point it out to them, like, look at this, look at this. I've started adopting this in everything that I build. I just keep those flaws to myself. I gave all the face panels 2 coats of polyurethane clear varnish. With my face panels all done, it's time to make the cabinet top. I glued and nailed these 3 strips of plywood together. Once the glue was nice and dry, I cut out a V groove on my table saw for placing of pencils and other such things. Using pocket holes, I mounted it to the back of the tabletop. I added these small strips to the front of the tabletop to add strength. Then I later applied some hardwood trim to the front off camera though. With my brand new shop cabinet in place, the workshop needed a fresh coat of paint. I made this quick and easy jig to assist in easy placement of the Euro-style hinges. Hashtag Craig Jig Killer.
Rule 7. The only rule is work. If you work, it will lead to something. It's the people who do all the work all the time who eventually catch on to things.
With my hinges installed, I made these small spaces to get an even surface for mounting the doors.
Rule 8. Don't try to create and analyze at the same time. They're different processes.
I've struggled quite a lot with this one. I end up wasting hours on end busy thinking about a specific challenge instead of doing what is doable in front of me.
It's my very first time using and installing these kind of hinges. The great thing about them is that they have easy adjustability. They make everything fit nice and square. Then I went on to the drawer face frames. With the thin 4mm plywood, I couldn't directly mount the drawer box to the panel. I had some challenges trying to think around this, and then I quickly did some research on the tubes. I got a solution. Facing my screws towards the face frames, I got good results.
Rule 9. Be happy. Whenever you can manage it, enjoy yourself. It's lighter than you think.
This is a sneak peek to my next project video, some marquee letters I'm working on.
Rule 10. We're breaking all the rules, even our own rules. And how do we do that? By leaving plenty of room for X quantities. John Cage. Helpful hints. Always be around. Come and go to everything. Always go to classes. Read anything you can get your hands on. Look at movies carefully often. Save everything. It might come in handy later. There should be new rules next week.